episode of The Closing Edge. My name is Stalin, and every week we are posting interesting videos for the budding sales experts in the market, and we've been receiving a lot of responses from viewers, and we are able to see a drastic improvement in the number of views for the video. And thank you so much for this, and this will definitely motivate me to do more videos on weekly basis. So thank you so much for the support. Yeah, so moving on quickly without wasting any further time on this, let's quickly get into the today's topic. So today's topic is the KISS formula and how it's going to help you close more deals. So talking about the KISS formula, we're going to break down this topic into three major parts, and each part we would discuss about some case studies or companies which they have used this in a very effective way and how they have seen results. We're just going to talk in simple terms, right, so that we understand this concept really well. So moving on, so talking about KISS formula in the first part, what usually happens when a salesperson approaches a customer, too much of information and too much of choices what we give and too much of talking. So these are all some of the things which is going to cause a lot of confusion to customer, and a confused customer would not buy, right? So the best closer in the world, they keep it very simple and very stupid. They keep the presentation as simple as possible, right? So today I'll show you the KISS formula, a simple way to close deals faster and easier. So moving on to the first part, the real world proof that simplicity actually sells. Talking about none other than the disruptive leader in the market, Apple, right? Apple launched its product iPod back in those days, and when iPod was launched, and it was very, very unique in the market, and I still remember the way how it was launched, and it was a very revolutionary idea, and it's just not about launching the product, and it is also about how you launch and how you make it very simple, how you can sell it in a very simple term, and how you can bring it to the public, and how you're gonna explain it to the public. So instead of complicating it, they made it very simple. They didn't say our iPod has a 5 GB hard drive with advanced audio compression. They just said one thing. They said 1,000 songs in your pocket. So don't you feel this is very simple, and even a 10-year-old kid could really understand what they really meant, right? And as a result, millions of sales happened. And as part of that, they started innovating the technology again, and they brought new, series of iPod. So this is one of the success stories of iPod, how they've kept it very simple. Now, moving on to the next company, we are talking about the KISS formula was utilized effectively. It's Domino's Pizza. They didn't brag about their authentic Italian recipes or any other recipes for that matter. They just kept it very simple. They said 30 minutes or it's free. This was their USP, right? As a result, they saw $1 billion brand. They built it $1 billion brand, and they saw a lot of revenue flowing in for them. And that was a very disruptive move by Domino's again, right? Taking a look at the third company, it's Tesla. Car companies usually talk more about horsepower, torque, and engine specs, right? But Tesla made it very simple and stupid. They said zero gas, zero emissions, and zero hazards at all, right? So the lesson here is, we see these three companies, the simpler your pitches, the more people will buy. Moving on to the part 2 of this topic. So 5 steps to close sales with a KISS formula. So the first step is lead with the problem. So there are two ways to describe, or there are two ways to look into a situation. One is a wrong way and one is a right way. So if you are a company who are into CRM sales and software sales, so you usually end up having this kind of a conversation with a customer, right? Saying our software has AI-driven analytics and predictive modeling. So not everybody, not all business owners are very advanced in terms of technology, and they would understand all our technical jargons and IT related jargons, right? So how do you keep it simple? By just telling the customer, we help you close deals in half the time. Say if you're taking around 1 hour to close a deal, we would make it for you in half the time. So less the time you spend on a sale, the more you have efficiency, the more you have bandwidth to close more sales. So by that, you have an opportunity to increase your revenue. So this is one way to do it, right? And more precise way or very short way to explain everything in a very one-line kind of a sentence here is to make it simple. So a customer would really feel, okay, if I'm going to spend just half the time, I have more bandwidth, I'm going to do more sales. So customers understood it, right? So that's the first step. And second step is shrink your offer to one sentence. So if a 10-year-old, as I said earlier, can't understand your pitch, it's too complicated for a customer, right? So for an example, we help you retire 10 years earlier without worrying about money. How does it sound? So this sound like an answer to a problem, right? So this mostly suits for people who are into asset management firms and who take care of customers' assets and is responsible for customers' revenue generation, revenue building, right? So instead of talking to them again in the technical jargon saying we will do the right allocation of your assets and we would invest in the right stocks and all this, just tell them, boss, we are here to help you retire 10 years earlier than what you have actually planned for. So this for any investor is going to be a dream, right? So this will make them make more confident about the conversation what you're going to have with them, and that's going to be smooth for you. Moving on to the third step, fewer choice is equals to faster closing. So the more you have, the more options you have, the more options you exhaust them with, they would not make that buying decision faster. Instead, they would still go back and compare options. They'll see what is right for them and what is not right for them. The more options you give them, the wider the opportunities are. They might not go with you at all. They might see an operator who's going to give you in simpler terms. They might have just two options or just one option which is fitting their need, and they're going to go with that, right? So instead of doing this, just offer them very minimal options. Try to understand what the customers need and shrink your options just to two or just one, right? So you can just ask the customer, do you want to go with standard or you want to go with the premium package? Just keep it simple. The customer would choose one of them, and then your options are very easier and your job is very, very short here, right? Right. Moving on to the fourth step, handle objections with power move. So when customer says it's too expensive, I think we've been talking about this from all 3 videos, whatever we've been discussing. But yes, the answer still remains the same. You will ask the customer, compared to what? So when you ask the customer compared to what, he's going to come back and say what he is really trying to compare it with. And you will have to, after taking that information from the customer, you will have to, frame your pitch accordingly and present it so that the customer will have no other option to just, go by the facts and accept your product. So that's how the fourth step works. Talking about the fifth step, close with a simple question. So instead of asking the customer, would you like to go over the details and discuss further? Instead, tell the customer, would you like to start today? Right? So that also shows your confidence in the product, and that also shows how well prepared you are to close the deal. And your thought process, definitely customer is going to reciprocate and give you a positive response on that. So that's how it's going to work. Right? So the simpler you close, the faster they say yes. So keep your presentations as simple as possible. Now moving on to the part 3 of this topic, 4 mistakes that kills your sales. As salespeople, we all have done this mistake, and there is no exception. Irrespective to what stage of career you are in, you would have definitely made these mistakes, what I'm going to talk about. Talking too much to the customer. I understand that we are the experts of the product. We would know in and out about the product. And if you're And if you're going to talk more about it, more and more about it, customer is just not going to like it, right? Instead, keep the context as it is and string the content and deliver it to the customer. Keep it short and simple. The customer would really love it. And secondly, we end up giving too much of information, which is not required for the customer to understand in the first stage, right? So there are few things to be told beforehand. There are few things to be told probably after sales. So limit your conversation on information, what is required to be told in the first stage. Give them that information, and anything else you feel could have been told in the second stage of the sales, you can always communicate it to the customer in the earlier stage, right? So whichever information you feel is customer critical and customer affecting defects, which you can actually discuss priorly, and anything else which customer it's just a need to know information, you can always keep that information post sales, right? That keeps it very simple and straight too. Yeah. So, and the third thing is that we tend to offer too many choices. So fewer options will help the customer make faster moves and faster decisions. So keep your options as minimal as possible. And the final point is that we think complex is smart. So in reality, simple is smart. So keep your presentations as simple, keep your conversations as simple, and keep your prospects, guessing about what you've just explained them about, right? So these are some of the important techniques which need to be kept in mind while you're doing a presentation, while you're having a conversation with your customer for your closures. So if your pitch needs explanation, it clearly means that you're losing the sale, right? Your pitch does not require an explanation. And as I said, it should be as simple that even a 10-year-old could understand what you're trying to sell them. Yeah. So this is what it is all about. So let's get into the final thoughts of it. The best closer don't convince, they clarify. Keep it simple and watch your sales explode. So this is the final thought for the video. And I have a question for you. So what's one thing you can simplify in your sales pitch right now? So drop it in the comments below and like, subscribe and share. Let's make closing easy. Thank you so much for this day and looking forward for the next video. Thank you.